Hi, my name is Brian English, full name Hyperbytes, and now we're going to cover the fourth unit in this series, which is the creation of a shared database container on DigitalOcean, which can be accessed from any application that we care to design. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to create a new server. I'm going to call it my shared DB, created in London. See, it's already picked up the SSH key, which is it's picked up from our local Docker install. So let's create that. As we know, this can take up to 5 minutes, so I'm just going to sit back and allow everything to happen, and through the magics, this 5 minutes is only going to take a couple of seconds. And there we are, finally our server set up, and we can see by the green dot that everything is working as it should. So we have our container ready to deploy a database. So I'm going to click on Services, Add Service, Databases. You see we have the choice there of MySQL, MariaDB, Postgre or Redis. It's going to stick with a nice simple MySQL, and that database service is going to be called Central DB. We're now going to deploy that so that we can get that up and running. Again, that's not an instant process. It shouldn't take long. Quick, that's take a lot quicker than expected it to be. And then within that, we need now to create our actual databases. But of course, our old friend, the don't be impatient, has returned. So there's no quick way around this. I'm afraid you just have to wait till the appropriate services finish and they're happy. It would appear that that's happened now, so we're all right. Databases now, I'm going to add an actual database in there. And I'm going to call this my demo, just to match the local one. Let that create. I'm going to create a user. Just call that Brian. I'll use the default password. Don't have a problem with that, because I'm actually never going to type it. Wapper's going to do all the hard work. And then I'm going to grant that user Brian the access rights required to access that my demo database. That's very straightforward. I hope you agree. So the next bit that we're going to be looking at is how to change our project settings. So instead of using the services within our dedicated droplet for that particular website, we're going to be using this central shared database that we've just created. So what I need to do is to go into the edit of our project, targets, production, and then down the database section we're going to click Cloud Database. Our database server is the DigitalOcean My Shared DB Central DB database. We're using the My Demo database tables, and that's all we actually need to do. So let's create that. I'm going to close that option now, and we should now find that our settings have actually changed over. So I've gone through now. We've got the demo stuff here because we have our old database tables from, these are the standard tables added to the Docker container. But of course, we don't want them, and they just don't seem to want to disappear, and that's purely because we need to redeploy to our servers as it is now. So what will be happening here is that the web pages will be put to that first my demo container, but the databases will be going to our dedicated central database. Shouldn't take long at all. They tend to find that this installing the packages is the slowest bit of the deploy, but that tends to be only done obviously as a one-off. So there we are, we've now got all of our containers being set up. Shouldn't be much longer, says he with his fingers crossed. There we are, all services are now completed. Let's try a full schema refresh now. We'll see now that those tables have gone. That's exactly as we would expect. And also notice here now that green circle is a half circle because the actual website container itself is no longer running a database, because we're now accessing a separate database. So that effectively tells us that the web server is running, but it's no longer providing database services in that first droplet. It's creating them in a second. And so we see here now, this is effectively our web server, our web pages, but our data for that is being served from this particular location here. Yep, nice and simple. The only thing now that we've got to do is look at deploying that data from one database to another, those tables. If you remember, if we go into our development tables, we created a very simple users table. So how do we actually deploy that to our new central database? Well, that's fairly simple. We select our production target, go publish. You see it gives us the opportunity to apply those database changes, and we click publish. That will publish all of our web pages, and it will also publish the database structure changes to our remote centralized database. And when this is finally finished, we should then see that we have the tables are updated on our production server. So there we are, we've got tables. Let's do a refresh of schema, and there we see that user table has been replicated from our local shared database to our central shared database. That's the fourth module I wanted to cover. Why did I particularly choose this time to cover this now? Well, we're in the last version of Wappler 5 at the moment. We're going to see Wappler 6 coming out literally any day now in beta, and this is actually the process that you will go through to be able to create a CouchDB database. So the CouchDB database will be created in the same way within your resource manager, but where we create a database, we're going to be creating a CouchDB database. So unless you understand this basic structure, then you're not going to be able to go under that. So this series goes on pause now. I'm hoping that any day now 6 beta will be out, and then we will extend this to cover creating a couch database, and I'll be showing you how to have the data stored locally within Pouch on your page and then deployed when there's a network connection across to your central couch database. So thanks for joining me on this module, and I look forward to A, version 6 of Wappler being out, and B, being able to continue this particular service.